So yeah, today we'll be talking about. Sorry, today we'll be talking about IAM. So you already know it by seeing it. So it's like identity management and access management in AWS cloud. So user management to keep it simple. So we it's like restricting access for our AWS accounts, right, and whatever the services inside it. So we'll be using this IAM concept. Have you observed as of now when you log in with email, right? The one which you use to create your account, correct? So that's the root account, just like root account in Linux, like that. So whatever you log in, even I also log in with my email only as of now. That's my root account. So of course, root means he can do anything, that user, but not a good practice though, because in organizations or anywhere in real time scenarios, no one uses that account. Nobody, I'm telling you. Like, maybe someone, in order to pay the bill, mostly that, but no one uses the root account. Everyone will have their own IAM users. Everyone will have their own individual users. So they'll use their own user ID and password to log into your AWS account. So root user, nobody use the root account. So why? Because of security reasons. It has full access, including building and everything. Delayed account also, it has actions, permissions. So you got to be safe. So obviously that's why no one uses that. By default, if you click on this is your username, root username. TA is my username. You'll be seeing a different name, obviously. So account ID, account organization, billing, security credentials, everything. Click on the account. These are all options comes to root account, not the other users. So you can see account details, account name, password. You can change it, if you know it. Close account. See, if you have root access, if you are logging with someone, let's say login with root mail, root account, see, they can able to close it. And of course the contact information as well. You can see which are regions enabled or not. You can see lots of things. You can use, okay, close account on top. And of course go to security credentials. So security credentials know about information about your MFA. You are using MFA device, I believe, otherwise it won't allow your information, email and everything. See, you can edit it, as well as you can assign new MFA device if you don't want to use this. Are you using this? I believe you should use this, otherwise it won't allow you login. So this is for root MFA.
I'm using it.
You should use. I think for every now it will ask you for prompting. Do it. So it's okay. Just like any other MFA, multi-factor authentication, you know it. So for Gmail also we have, for everything we have. I think almost everything, even for Instagram, I believe. And of course you've seen this access keys somewhere, if you remember. So we will discuss this about again. Don't worry. So what I'm trying to say is like your root. If you log in with root user, you can see every information about the account. Every information. So just simply click on username. You can see all of these things. Billing also you can able to see. But I told you, no one uses the root account. Nobody. Maybe finance team, maybe mostly, or maybe CTO or someone whoever is maintaining this, whoever responsible for paying this. Mostly finance team. So except them, no one uses that. Got it? So then how to log in now? How we create our resources in AWS? That's why we have a concept called IAM, identity and access. See, you can see here, identity and access management. We create our own users with our own permissions, and we use them users to log in. How? Simple. On the left side you can see user groups, users, roles, policy, something. We'll see one by one, don't worry. First, of course, users. Click on users. No users. Of course, root is there, but it's not part of IAM. Is a account level. I mean, he's the owner of the account, so you don't be displayed here. And let's create a user. You can create your own user for the account. Do remember, we are creating a user for AWS account, not for region. I mean, there are no regions in the user accounts. You got what I'm saying, right? So you're creating user for account. Simple, create user. Of course, create user. I am creating as root user. So root has permissions to create user. So that I can able to I'm creating user. Anything, maybe test user. Sorry, test user. So next, simply click on next. It has three things. One is add user to the group. You can add the user to a group, or you can create a new group also. We'll start group maybe in few minutes, but for now just user. We are just creating user, no groups. And copy permissions. So you can let's say if there is existing user with some permissions are there, you can able to copy permissions from that user. But of course we don't have anything. Let's skip this also. We'll see that again. Don't worry. When creating another user. Next thing, it is showing attach policies directly. What are these policies? You know, let's cancel it. Let me open the policy to you. There on the left side you can see policies. What are these policies means? AWS by default have a policies. A policy is nothing but which has permissions on what to do. Let's say as an example, if you see here administrator access, expand it, you will see this is a policy where with full access, administrator access. So in the JSON file like this, you can create your own policies as well. We'll see that today, don't worry. But there are, how many are there? 1300 policies available. You can use this existing policy. See, you can create your own policy also. We'll see that later. But for now, see, there everything have its own policy. Let's say I want to have EC2 policy. Search. See, so many are there. EC2 full access, EC2 read only. So many are there. You have to choose which policy you want. Or let's say S3. Sorry, S3. S3 full access, S3 object lambda something, S3 read only, S3 tables something. So many are there. See, what other services we have seen? EFS policy one thing. Any other thing we have seen? CloudFront. See, CloudFront
EC, EC2, S3,
yeah,
then
we have seen all those, right? So it's the CloudFront policy. So like that, each and every service will have policies, default policies. I mean, it's created by AWS itself. See, type AWS managed. So there will be like 1300 policies. You can choose which permissions you want to have. Just an example, I am creating my user. That user only need EC2 access. It means I'll give EC2 access to him. I mean the user which I'm creating. So it means I have to choose the policy which has the EC2 user. I mean, sorry, not EC2 user. Sorry, EC2 service access policies. I have to attach the policy to the user. Now it means the user has only EC2 permissions. He can able to access only EC2, not other things. So if he try to access other things, it will say access denied. You don't have access because of policies are not there. So for now, these are the default policies available. We can create our own. We'll see in this class. Let's choose the default policy for now. Test next. Add attach policies directly. Search for your policy. What policy you want? Maybe I want EC2. EC2 full access is there for now, or EC2 read only is there. What is the difference? Obviously means full access means you can create, delete anything. Read only means you can able to read only. You cannot create or delete anything. So I want this user maybe to read only. He can able just see the EC2 information, EC2 service information, not more than that. He cannot do anything. So simply I select that. If you want full access, select this. Whichever you want. I'm telling you, right? Your manager comes to, hey, create an IAM user with these permissions. Same thing. Come here, check for the policies. If the policies exist, add the policies to them and create it. If you don't have it, create. Create we'll see later. For now, add a policy and click next. Just like creating AWS, sorry, Linux user. That's it. There is nothing. And of course, we missed few things. See, what happens is, let's come back. again. Let's come back again. Where is it? Let's check this option. No, that's okay. Leave it. No worries. So user and of course the policy. I think I selected EC2 policy. Next. So create user. Don't go anywhere. Once you create an user, see this is the user. Click on security credentials. See, it is saying console login sign in link. So this is the link that you need to use to log in to AWS, not aws.amazon.com. This is the root user. Sorry, what is it? Root users URL to log in. But for normal user, let's say this user, if you go inside, it will give the security credentials a new link. You have to use this to log in. And password, we haven't set the password. We can set it. No worries. And of course, MFA also we are seeing. We can set up MFA. It's fine. These are all different. When topic comes, we'll see. And permissions. This is the permission, right? You added. Remember? You can add one more permission here. Add permissions. Add permissions. Simply, you can add it. Maybe I want. What you want? Maybe S3. S3 read only. S3. Yeah, read only. Or S3 full access. I mean, I want him to create an S3 bucket. So I give full access. See, two policies attached now. So like this. Got it. Next, click on groups. This user is not part of any group, obviously, so no groups. Tag, you can add any tags, obviously. Nothing. Security credentials. So this is where it will give you URL to log in. Let me copy in Notepad. And of course, we have to set a password for this user. We haven't set. See, still the user can't log in because we haven't set any password. Let's enable console access here. Auto generate password, or you want to have custom password? Let's create auto generated. Custom means you have to give the password, obviously. Let's create auto generated. That's okay. And there is one check here. User must create a new password at the next sign in. If you check this option, it will ask you to change the password. So if you don't use this, it won't ask you to change the password. Let's change the password. Maybe let's try that also. Enable console access. Password, copy it. Otherwise, if you you can download it. Sorry, you can also download the password. If you close it, gone. I saved my password, URL and everything. If you click on it, it will download a CSV file for you. Save it. If I close it by mistakenly, let's say, I can't get my password now. Gone. So please, if you create a user, while download the CSV file or copy it very secure place somewhere. If you click on close, I mean you can't see the password again. You have to click on manage, reset password. See, like that only. You can't see it. But yeah, you can reset. That is possible. Now yeah, let's try login. This is the URL I need to log in. AWS will give this URL. Don't worry about how to do it. Blah 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 and all these things. Let's copy the URL, paste it in the browser. Let's see what happens. I'm opening in incognito browser. That's just to show you. See, this is the page. It will show you. What is the username? Test. Correct. What is the password? This one. Paste it. So password, yes. Sign in. Of course, we checked the option, right? For the first time, change the password. See, it's asking for changing the password. 1 minute, let me change it. Yes, confirm password change. Done. You logged in with this user. We'll see. You logged into AWS account. See the user now here. This guy, not TA. TA is the root account. You remember? Now this is the IAM user which we created. So let's go to Ireland. Let's see. Of course, user what permissions user have, I believe EC2 permissions it have, right? Let's see, EC2 read only, he can able to see the EC2 information, but launching he cannot do it. If you click on launch, let's try, give some name, I mean let's keep it default, whatever it is. Try launch. Oh, sorry. Let's AMI required. Come on. See, it's not showing anything. Clear filters. Let's try again. You know why it's not showing? Permissions. We didn't give him to see the to see the AMIs. Now let's go back. If you see, let's say create something, load balancer. Load balancer, auto scaling, these are all comes under part of EC2 only. So create load balancer. Maybe anything classic. Just for example, I mean test network is fine. I'll just choose one subnet. It is fine. Blah 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 blah. Try to create. Let's see. See, you're not authorized to perform because you don't have access. Because we just gave EC to read only, not creating it. That's why no permissions. Let's go to some other service. See, read these are all information about the pricings and all. It's no because access denied. Let's go to S3. S3 we have full permissions. S3 we can create a bucket in S3. That's absolutely fine. Because permissions we gave S3 full access. Create bucket. Blah 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 blah. Something. Leave all as it is default. And see, created. Because we gave him, I mean the user full permissions. Of course, full means delete also he can able to do. See, get done. Let's go to some other service, maybe CloudFront, right? I mean, come on. Sorry, I opened another one. Yeah, see, I try to even open other service. It's it's itself throwing error. You can't open it because you don't have permissions. So like I'm trying to show you how, I mean, what are the things that we will see. Let's see. See, access denied. You can't even see if there are any CloudFront distributions also like that. So like that, you can able to create IAM user, and of course with the limited permissions. If you give him full access, obviously you can do anything whatever you want. This policy automatically added because when we setting a password, it showed us like, hey, you selected the option, change the password next time. So I'm adding this policy. So we have to change it. So it's fine. So that's about users. You can create n number of users. There is no limit. Let's log out again. Go on. Close this. Create one more user. Next, something prod. Next, attach policies. You can attach directly, or you can copy permissions from specific user. So whatever permissions this user have will all get to this prod user also. Next, blah blah blah. All these things. So you can create your own users like this. That's about users. Next we have groups also. User groups. Of course, this. What is this? Create a group. What is a group? Test -grp, just for example. So you have to add users to group, obviously. Add the users. This user I want to add. You can select, and what are the permissions that you want to have for the group? Maybe let's say admin access example. So this group will have admin access. Next, create a group. That's it. Now group is created. Within the group there is one user. I added this user to the group. And what are the permissions? Admin access. This group have admin access, which means whatever the users are there in that group will also have admin access. So the group permissions will be applied to user also. And of course user also have separate permissions, right? So user have easy to read access, and what is that, S3 full access, and in the group have admin access. So user will get admin access. How to log in? How to try it? I mean, simply go here. The link will be there, right, in the user. Copy, open, blah 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 blah. Password test. Sorry, user test. Password. I logged in. Now this user should have full admin access. Let's go to EC2. Earlier it threw error, right, for us because of lack of access. See, now it is showing. See, no errors. Let's go to EC2. Without any errors, it will show us because the group permissions are applied to the user as well. Because the group have admin access, obviously. See, earlier the zone was not showing for us, and of course the filter is not loading. See, now it is loading because I told you. So whatever the permissions that a group has will get will be applied to the users in that group. So let's say group have easy to full access. So any permissions, I mean, I'm just saying an example. Any permissions a group have will be applied to user also. And of course, user, whatever the permissions the user have, that also will apply to the user. Both will be applied to user, obviously. That's about creating groups and users. Simple. I mean, we just managing the authentication. That's it. Securing the account. Got it? Now, sorry.
Bro, now we gave admin access to the user.
Hmm.
I mean, we created a group permission. So
Hmm.
the existing permission, which is user specific, right, will be overwritten.
Overwritten.
See,
It depends on the permission. What permission you have added. See, let's say you for user these permissions are the read only S3 full access, right? And for group I gave admin access. Obviously, admin is the access means everything, correct? So both will be applied, but this will dominate. Admin access will dominate because it has full access. It
okay,
These permissions include in the admin access, right? Correct. These
yeah,
S3 full access read EC2 read only will already included in the admin access. So why again override? There is no overriding. So both will be applied. Let's try different permission, maybe admin access permissions. Let's remove this admin access for a group. Add maybe attach policy. CloudFront. Now what happens is the group has CloudFront permissions. Now this permission apply to the user as well, correct? Now user have CloudFront permissions, and what permissions he have? I mean, EC2 and S3 3. See, this all will be applied. There is no overriding here. So both will be applied. So let's say another example. Let me show that one also. User read only have EC2 read only, and group has EC2 full access. What will be applied? As a user, when you're trying to create, it will block first. But since he's a part of the group which has the full access, AWS will allow them to create the EC2 resources. So like that. Got it? So like that, usually it will be. So no overridings. Each and every permission will be applied to the user, and of course based on that it will be creating deleting resources. Got it?
yes, bro.
So that's about users and groups. And of course you can click on the security credentials. There is something called keys. Where is the keys? Password. Sorry, yeah, this password and all, these for you to log into AWS account. I mean this UI whatever you're saying now. But let's say through programmatically I want to talk to AWS. Programmatic means through CLI. See here, from AWS CLI or AWS tools. So you can't use this password. This password you can see here only for console password is specifically name, just to log into AWS account UI, this UI account. But you want to talk to, let's say, through AWS CLI, you want to create an instance. Just example I'm saying, you want to create an AWS EC2 instance through AWS CLI. How to do it? you can't use this password. For at that time you have this something called access keys. So these access keys, you have to generate the access keys and it will be separate for each and every user. So again, these also create it where you want to have command line interface obviously, and simply scroll down. It's saying, see, that's okay, we'll talk about this later in few minutes. Click on confirmation and next. Description not required. Create value. Download CSV file or copy it. I'll copy it. I don't want to download. Secret show. It's okay. You can see it and close it. Now these two keys. Access. Where is it? Access key. It will be shown for you. But secret key. Once you close it, you can't see it. It's gone. Just like password. All you have to do is you have to delete them, deactivate them, delete them, create one more. So at maximum you can create 2 access keys at a time, not more than that. So now here what I'm trying to say is, if you want to do something with this user, specifically with this IAM user, you need access keys. Even let's say if you remember, now when we're trying Ansible dynamic inventory, we have used these access keys. But at that time we have used root user access keys. This is root user. Okay, root user will also have access keys and security credentials, just like security credentials here. Root user will also have security credentials, but in here, and of course access keys I deleted it, but at that time we created access key for root user. This is for this root user, and we have used these keys in order to talk to AWS and do something. So these access keys will be used to talk to AWS through CLI programmatically, not through console. If you're using console, you log in with console password, so it's not required to have what is that these keys. But if you're doing something through APIs or through CLI commands, if you want to access that, your account, you need this one. Now I have access keys, I can do something. What I can do, I can get maybe S3 bucket. I have full access to S3, right? I can get S3 bucket from my laptop itself. Let's open command line. We have to install, okay, S3 CLI, right? Do I have any Python or something? Okay. So Python -m -v. Yes. I'm installing AWS CLI. So whatever we did so far in the UI, same thing we can do through CLI also. AWS provided commands to you. Simply you can able to do it. So in order to do this through CLI, you need keys. Where is this keys? You need something called access keys. That access keys will give you access, in order to do something from CLI. So I want to create S3 bucket. Of course, this user have access to create S3 bucket. Let's check the command AWS CLI to create S3 bucket. It's a huge command, so usually don't remember it. Let's go here. I have installed blah 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 blah. So first thing, let's check the CLI version. Once it is installed, it will take some time. Next, there is some command called AWS configure. So what does it mean is, this command, it will configuring you, or configuring the AWS CLI to access the AWS account. So it will ask for access key, secret key, what is the region, what is output. When you type some commands, what output, in what format the output should be give to you. In a JSON format, in a text format, in a YAML format, it's your wish. Now once you authenticate it, you give the keys and secret key, you will get authenticated to AWS account. And then you can able to use any command. See, AWS S3 commands are there. So many are there. S3 API create bucket blah blah something. Let's try all these things. Yeah, finally it's done. AWS --- version. Yeah, the 1. Okay, it's installed. Now what we want to do? AWS configure. We have to connect to account, right? From our local. This is my local laptop. From here I need to connect to my AWS account. So in order to do that, AWS configure. Enter secret key. Yes, here it is. What is the region? EU West 1, because Ireland is my region. Default format text. Sorry, text. Give me the output in text format. So now it's authenticated. Now I can able to type anything. It will talk to my AWS account. Because with these keys, it's talking to AWS account. Let's create a bucket. Where is this? Maybe this one. Let's change it a little. EU West 1 or region, and bucket, test bucket. Okay, this is fine. Let's create the bucket. So AWS S3 API create bucket, this command. What is this? AWS S3 AWS S3 help. Maybe the command might be wrong. Let's see. So S3 API. These are all. I mean, help means it will give you the commands. What commands are there? Something like that. See, these are all the commands: sync, mbl, rbls. Lots of commands are there. You can practice them. If you like to use CLI. So AWS S3 CP command also, syntax. Available commands are these. AWS S3 API help. We are using S3 API command, right? So create bucket. Where is it? Create hyphen bucket. Delete hyphen bucket. See, copy object. So create hyphen bucket. Create hyphen bucket. Okay, this should be fine. And an illegal constraint when calling it bucket, the one certified location constraint is. Let's remove this region. So now let's simply hyphen help. So this will show you what you can options you can use after create bucket. The following arguments are required. Okay, hyphen bucket is required, it seems. Test 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. See, it is showing even more options. See, you can pass the directory, you can pass permissions. Now this object lock and all you can able to do. S3 permissions you can restrict. This is a create bucket, hyphen bucket. Of course, we gave region also. Okay, of course we'll give the region also. So many options are there. See, so let's create. Why the hell it is not working? An illegal operation. What the hell is wrong? Let's Google it. What is wrong with this command? S3 API create bucket. Okay. Oh, what is this bucket name? Create. Okay. Location constraint we need to add. Regions outside of US East 1 require appropriate location constraint to be specified in order to create a bucket. Obviously, it's my bad. So this option we need to use. Location constraint, not region. My bad. Medium guy, you need to update the document. Yes, enter. What? Did I miss something? Oh, this one. Sorry. I had to pass this. Now it will work obviously. Enter. We're just creating a bucket. That's it. Don't get confused. What the hell? The bucket name is not available. Ah, come on, man. See, bucket name must be unique, global level. Ah, finally bucket is created. How to check it? AWS S3 ls, it'll, sorry, S3 ls, it'll show you the bucket. See, this is a bucket we just created. Go to AWS account, go to S3, let's see. See, the bucket is created, right? How to delete then? AWS S3 API delete hyphen bucket, I believe, hyphen bucket. What is the name? Let's copy the name. Copy, paste, enter. Hopefully it should work. It's deleted because why? This user, whatever the user, test user, have access to delete the bucket. He have full access. If you try to create EC2, it will also work. I mean, it won't work obviously. Sorry, the permissions are not there. Based on the permissions, he can able, this user can able to do anything. He can create CloudFront. He can read only. So, but he cannot create EC2. I mean, based on the user permissions only. Got it? So let's refresh this page. This is, see, the keys. Use it today. Created today. Use it today. December 5th. It stores the information. You can deactivate if you don't want to use it, obviously. So that's about security credentials. So you can, for every user, these credentials will be unique, different. So my user, I'll be creating, my own, what is that? Sorry, what do you call, security credentials, and some other user, that user will have separate credentials like that. So you'll be using in order to do something like this. No, not to through CLI or through anything. You can able to do like that. So that's about security credentials. But there is a huge risk here. No one uses access keys. Nobody. I'm telling you, right? No one uses access keys. Why? Why they don't use it? Because let's say you've seen my credentials now. You can take these credentials and you can able to create something by yourself. No need to know the account name, anything, nothing. See, did I, while configuring the CLI, did I mention any account and everything? Nothing, right? I just gave the AWS configure and gave the credentials, these two things, that's it. It connected to my AWS account. It can do anything, it depends on your permissions, of course, the user permissions. And of course, they are permanent. Until we delete them, this will be assigned to user. So the user have programmatic access. No one in the company does that, organization, any organization does that. Why? Because it's not safe to have credentials. Obviously, credentials means you have to store them somewhere. Of course, where do you store it? If someone have access to your, personal data, they can see your credentials, they can able to do something, create something, delete something, whatever it is, based on the access, of course. That's why no one uses that. Then how can I do? That's where the concept comes. Roles. The roles. So roles is like this. These are temporary access. For temporary access, role will be given to you. So we'll be creating a role with some permissions. Let's say same permissions as an example. Where is this? This. Let's go to users, or let's say this only. Let's say CloudFront access. So I'll create a role also with CloudFront access. Then I'll be using that role in order to create or in order to do something in my AWS account. There are no credentials involved in roles. So IAM roles are like temporary access. For temporary access, we'll be using the IAM roles. Let's say example, this test user is there, IAM user, and he have access keys and everything, and he is permanent, right? We can't delete the user. I mean, we can delete it, but again, the user will be, we are using that user in many places. The user is there, he is logging in until maybe he resign from the organization. We don't delete the user. That is permanent in a way. But let's say safety is not there because of it's permanent. Anyone can do anything if they know the user credentials. That's how we use roles. What role will do? Role also nothing. We just create a role with some permissions. But advantage is these are for temporary access. What does it mean? Temporary means role also will have security credentials, access keys, security secret access key will be there for role also, but only for certain period of time. After that, it will be expired. So here what we did, we created S3 bucket through CLI. It means the user is created. I mean the AWS user, whoever we gave the credentials, right? These credentials, whoever the credentials belongs to, test user obviously. That user created AWS, bucket, S3 bucket. But now we don't, instead of using the user credentials, we'll be using an IAM role, and that IAM role, you know, uh, will be used to do some any resources. Let's say in our case, create the S3 bucket from CLI. Anything, not just this one, any example. So these credentials are temporary. Role also will have credentials, but they are temporary. So they will use that credentials role and for temporarily give access for you. So on behalf of some role, you will be accessing the services and you will be uh, sorry, what is it? Creating the resources. How do I create resource? These roles actually, I told you, right, for temporary access there is some service called STS, security token service. So and there is a concept called assume role. Let me type it. So there is security STS service. So this roles will be using this thing to create a temporary credentials, and there is something called assume role. It means the role will be assumed. I mean, with this role only will be authenticated to AWS. So it's like assuming the role. So I'm not an IAM user, right? I'm trying to log in from my laptop to AWS account. So when you use this role, so the AWS assume that okay, some guy is there, he's trying to access the AWS with this role. Okay, what? So let's allow him. Let's allow him or her. I mean, just saying. Let's allow this role to do something. So like that. So like that we'll be using. Not just creating AWS access CLI something from our local to AWS. Not like that. This role will be useful for everything. Wherever you use security credentials, role can be used. Let's say the security credentials, I can able to simply create an EC2 service. Let's create an EC2 service. Let me show you the real example. So I'll create an EC2 server, and on the server I'll try to access the S3 bucket, or I'll try to create S3 bucket. What you do, just like nothing, same thing. You simply do AWS configure, give your IAM user credentials, and you can use this command. All are good. Same way you can able to do from EC2 all mission also. But now with the role I am doing, right, so you don't need the credentials anymore. It will be a little different thing. Let's try that. Let's create EC2 first, a sample, some maybe basic EC2. So whatever the example I showed you creating S3, I'm showing the same thing, but from with using a role. That's it. So I'll tell you how to do a role. Amazon Linux, it's fine. T2 Micro is fine. Keep here, I don't have it. Let me create. Yes, demo. Create. Obviously save network, blah blah. Select existing firewall. Launch. Meanwhile, let's open git bash. Sorry, my bad. Let's connect. Not this. Paste. Yes. Sudo. Let me install same thing. Sorry, yum, right? m update first. Let's do m update. Then okay. Python is exist. Python 3 is there. So I'll be installing AWS CLI with Python. Pip is not there. I'm just installing the pip. We have seen this in Ansible. Don't worry about it. Pip is installed. I'm installing the CLI. Oh, sorry. AWS -- version. Now let's do that. AWS configure. What is the access key? Do give it. What is the secret key? Obviously you have it. Copy paste. Blah blah blah. Paste it. What is the region? U West 1. What is it? Output you want text, or you can give simply JSON also. You already seen text, so let me give JSON. Now AWS S3 LS. It'll see it's connected. There is no buckets. Let's create it. AWS S3 API create bucket hyphen -. I forgot the name. Location constraint. Where is this? Create bucket. Of course this failed, but yeah, let's copy it. Create bucket. Okay, bucket test. Okay, now let's see. Sorry, not this. Here no hyphen. Location constraint. Let's try. I forgot that. Okay, let's try AWS S3 create bucket. Okay, hyphen bucket. Where is that location constraint? I'm just wasting time here. No, let me search directly. Why? Let me just copy for this meanwhile. Until this it is fine. Sorry, here it will be there, right? What am I, an idiot or something? Let's copy the whole thing. Paste it, paste. Same thing. Maybe bucket name is fine. Bucket is created. See, of course, see the output now. It's in JSON format. Earlier it was, out text. Earlier it just when you printed AWS S3 created. Where is it? See, it just printed you normal line, but now it's printing in different format. It's JSON format. So where is it? Bucket, yes. Refresh it obviously. So bucket is created with the help of credentials. As of now, we're just seeing only credentials. So now where the credentials will be stored? Wherever use it in the root, sorry, not root user, any user, wherever you are using these credentials, there will be .aws directory. Open credentials. It will be stored here permanently. See the access keys there. Permanently it will be stored. The configuration which you just gave, AWS configure, whatever you give, they are stored here. Someone logged into the machine and they just opened this file, they can able to see it, right? correct? They can able to do anything. Let's delete the .aws completely. Let's try to create again without credentials. Now let's see. Unable to locate. It's saying there are no credentials. Configure credentials by running AWS configure. So we cannot do without credentials. How to do it then? We can do with a role. So let's see that. How to create a role, how to, of course, attach permissions, creating a role is easy. How to use that role in EC2 in order to do S3, create something, whatever the task. Got it? So let's see. Hmm. Let's try. Where is it? Let's go here. Go to role, create a role. Obviously, is so you're creating a role for what? In order to do something, in order to allow something, right? See, credentials, there is no allowing, blocking or something. So we can use credentials to do anything, based on the permissions. But when creating a role, you know, what we are doing, we simply creating role for a service so that that service can able to do something. Let's say in here in our scenario example, we are creating a role for EC2 instance so that the EC2 instance can able to do something like that. Remember, don't get confused. We are creating a role for the source. So what is our target, or what is our destination? To create a bucket from where? From EC2. It means the permission should be there for EC2, right? Not for S3. Of course the EC2 should have permissions to create S3. So yeah, we are creating a role to create S3 and the role should be attached to EC2. It means the source should be choosing the EC2 service. So we'll be attaching this role to EC2. See here, allow EC2 instances to call AWS services on your behalf. The role is acting on our behalf. So we, instead of we giving the credentials, we are creating a role and giving it. The role will be creating or talking to whatever the, let's say in our case S3, based on our behalf, on our user behalf. So and that role will be attaching to EC2 because EC2 is the one from where we need to create. That's why. So that's why let's select EC2. Don't get confused when creating a role. So you have to create where, from where you want to do something. So EC2. And of course click next. What is the permissions you want? S3 full access, because of course you want to create the S3 bucket, right? Come on, S3. I typed S3. Yeah, S3 full access. Policy I'm just adding. Next. See, by default it came. And if I told you assume role, STS assume role. So it will be assuming what it will be assuming. So this role will be assuming the user. Okay, this guy user told me to create something with this role. And of course, we are giving that. And what permissions this have? S3 permission, S3 full access. What is the role name? EC2 demo something. Next, create a role. Role is created. We have role. Now, yeah, role is ready. It has. This is an EC2 role. Uh, it can the EC2 role can able to access S3 do something. How do I know EC2 role? If you don't know it, go to trust relationships. Maybe name might be different. Let's say, go to trust relationship. You will see the service here. So we are assuming the role for EC2 service. You can, based on the trust policy, you can able to see here. You can add multiple services here. We'll see that also later. Don't worry. Now role is ready. Okay, all good. And then how the role will be come to EC2? How the EC2 knows about the role? How it will know? Simply go to instance, right click on it, instance settings. Is there is option. Let's go to networking. Security. See, modify IAM role option in security is there. Click on it. So filter it out. See the easy to demo the role it's showing here for us. Simply attach it. We are attaching the role to EC2, and now this EC2 have permissions to create the S3 without the credentials. You see, credentials are removed. So you can see here, right? Now type S3 ls. Let's see if it comes or not. See, is the role came? Sorry, is the credentials are there? Can someone able to figure out your credentials? Nothing. Sorry. See, that's how important the role is. That's how it is important. Without credentials, we can able to access temporarily. That's how important it is. What do you mean by temporary? I mean, the role is also permanent, right? Until we delete the role will be exist, obviously. But what does it mean temporary means? Observe here. The role will be applied. The role is applied to an instance, right? I mean, in our case. So until the instance is running, the role is applied. Let's say instance is terminated. The role is nothing. There is no use of that role, because the role is applied to instance, and until the instance is running only the role is applied. Otherwise the role is not attached to anyone. It just the role exists, that's it. Without the with role you can't do anything. You have to use the role somewhere in order to do something. Anything, I mean. See, like this. That's how use the role instead of credentials. That's how everyone use it. Everyone use it like that. Of course, similarly you can add permissions. There is no, you can attach permissions, all are good. So you can create any roles like this. If I remove the role, again I can't access. Let's remove the role. Security, modify IAM role. See, no role, no IAM role. Select it, update. Yes, detach the role. We attached the IAM role earlier. What is that? Easy to demo. Now we are detaching. The role is gone. Let's try ls AWS command. See, gone. Hey, I don't know how to contact. I need credentials. So when you give credentials, it will connect. When you give a role, it will connect. Why? How the role? I told you. This IAM role will generate temporary credentials for you. Temporary credentials for you. So temporary credentials for you. The credentials automatically will be used by this EC2 machine to connect to S3 or whatever the service you are trying to do. Got it? Is it okay about the roles?
Yeah, bro. Can you go to the roles? I see a keyword called maximum session duration.
Wait, where is it? See, 1 hour. So until 1 hour, let's say you attach the role. Example, I'm saying you attach the role EC2. Until 1 hour, you can able to use it. After that, it will regenerate the credentials automatically. You don't need to do anything. That's a default 1 hour session. That's it. After that, it will automatically generate the credentials. It will automatically apply. You're not doing anything. I'm telling you, right? You're just creating a role, attaching it, and using it. That's it. Role will take care of you automatically. Got it? See,
Yeah.
without credentials, I haven't exposed the credentials anywhere now. Without credentials, I can able to talk to AWS services through command line CLI. We call them programmatically. It means the commands will be using it, or through script. Let's say shell script or some Python script you want to access. You can able to do that with this role, IAM role. I mean, which we just gave. We can able to do that. That's why I'm specifically mentioning this. No one uses the credentials. Everyone uses role only in order to do something. Why I need a role? I simply log in with my IAM user. I can connect it. Of course, I mean you can able to create services, but there will be scenarios, not scenarios. Everyone does this. Service to service communication is important. We will be communicating with one service to another service. See, you have you imagined, like, yesterday we tried CloudFront, right? CloudFront is a different service. S3 is a different service. How the hell CloudFront access to S3? You remember yesterday there was a bucket policy, and of course there will be IAM role also internally, which CloudFront automatically created for us. in order to access the S3. Today we created the role manually to show you, to see how the role works. So if a service in AWS wants to talk to another service in AWS, it needs permissions by default. EC2 cannot talk to S3 by default, as you can see. With the help of the role only, with some permissions only, it can able to connect. Of course, with the help of role and credentials, skip the credentials. Don't, I mean, keep in mind, but don't use it. So with the help of these permissions only, it will connect. That permissions will be given by AWS IAM role. So service to service communication. So because we'll be using this IAM roles in every place, everywhere in the whatever comes next. Earlier also, before also we used. So you'll understand, when you practice, okay, this IAM role we are using this place. IAM role is creating by this one, like this. How the hell auto scaling creating the servers? How the scale it's scaling up and scaling down? Of course with policies. I mean the scaling policy, but what permissions does auto scaling have to create? With IAM role only. Internally, AWS uses IAM role for auto scaling to create the EC2 instance. I mean, to give permissions to manage the instances for auto scaling. So, like that. Is it clear now? The roles concept.
Yeah.
That's how important it is. The roles. Do remember it. Of course, we'll be discussing this every day. Don't worry about that. So, of course, not just S3. You can give any permission here. Sorry, to the role, and this role will have these policy permissions. Wherever we attach this role, it will be assigned to, I mean, that service will have the access. We can create one more role also, and I mean there is no limitation. Which service you want to connect now? Maybe CloudFront. Here is the CloudFront. CLOUDF. Cloud formation is there is a CloudFront. So it will use the default roles then for CloudFront, not required. Auto scaling. See, is it auto scaling is there? See here. Let's say is it auto allow EC2 auto scaling to use and manage AWS services on our behalf. What does that mean? Use and manage the AWS services. Which it will manage? EC2 only. Other than that, nothing. So we are creating a role for EC2 auto scaling with some permissions, obviously. See the service policy, by default it came. See in this policy, you see the permissions. See the permissions here. Sorry. Oh, it got, yeah, sorry. See the permissions. Start instances, stop, terminate instances, run instances. This is what it required, right? This is auto scaling group. By default, the policy came because it's already there. We don't need to create it again. See, like that. Continue, yeah. So you can have, if any service you want to communicate, use the IAM role. Don't use the credentials. Of course, IAM role also will be using credentials, but temporary credentials, which no one able to use them, to do something inactive. Sorry, some security issues we can able to prevent with IAM role. Unauthorized activities, they cannot be performed. Let's say you are watching my video and my screen, right? You took a screenshot of these credentials. Now I forgot to delete them. You can able to do anything with this. Anything, I'm telling you. I mean, of course, based on the access whatever the IAM user have. Like you can create a CloudFront, you can create S3 bucket. So like that you can able to create. But of course, I don't want to create them. That's why I won't be using these credentials anymore. Got it? That's about the roles. You can delete a role, obviously. I'm sorry, I'm deleting a group. Let's delete later, no problem. S3 bucket, obviously delete it. You know how to delete, so it's fine. Let's cancel it. Let's refresh. There should be, okay, one bucket. That's okay. We'll delete later, no worries, not now. Now there is one more topic called policies. Policies, we have seen until now already nothing but permissions. So we'll be having policy with some permissions, obviously, and you'll be using the policy in roles, users, groups and everything. So by default there are so many policies available. You can able to use any of these, or you can create your own policy. So in the policy you can write a JSON file if you want. So like this, I don't know how to write it. It's too confusing sometimes. I'll simply use visual format. In visual format, what permissions you want to give in the policy? Maybe CloudFront. I want to give for CloudFront what actions you want to give. See, there are list permissions like this. There are read permissions. There are write permissions. You can see create function also, and of course copy distribution, delete distribution, delete function, create distribution function. So limited permissions you can able to give like this. And of course, in order to write, you need of course no list permissions of the list valid invalid. Where is the list distributions? Yeah, list distribution permission. Without seeing, you cannot create it, right? So that's why I'm giving read access, get distribution. So and I'm giving some write to here. I mean, you can add any permissions. For now, I just add CloudFront. Once this is added, there is something called resources. On what resource you want to apply this? It means, let's say, you want to apply this policy to a specific CloudFront distribution or to a specific S3 bucket. Like that, for specifically, you can able to give access. Let's say S3 bucket is there. Let's copy the ARN of this S3 bucket. You know what is ARN? Properties, blah 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 blah. Come on. Let's create a policy. Add as ARN to restrict access. So here you have to give the resource, the distribution ARN name here, not the, or you can give simply like this test. What happens is, as an example, I have a CloudFront distribution and I'm creating a policy. I mean, this IAM policy to restrict read permissions only to that CloudFront, only one CloudFront. I have 10 or hundreds of CloudFront distributions. Only for one CloudFront distribution I'm giving access. That you can give. Like here, add an AR. Of course, we don't have CloudFront obviously, but yeah, you can able to give like this. Or you can give all. This role can be applied to all the CloudFront distributions. This will be applicable to all the CloudFront distributions. It means, let's say a role is there. The role we attach this policy to the role. What happens? That role can able to see all the distributions. Of course, the permissions we give. Can able to read all the permissions. Can able to create the distribution. But if you give specifically to some specific resource, let's say CloudFront distribution, maybe CloudFront test name is there. I'm just saying. So the role can see only this CloudFront distribution. You got it? So specific service level also you can give access with the roles. By default, all the roles are applied to all the services. I mean, all the resources, not just one EC2 machine, not just one S3 bucket. AWS roles are like that. But you creating your own role, so you can have a distributions like this specifically. Maybe for this distribution only, this role will be applied. Let's say I gave this test distribution. The name is test for CloudFront. You attach this role to prod distribution, prod CloudFront. Of course, the role does not work because the role is specifically designed created to this test distribution. So like that, or you simply can give all. All means wildcard to all the resources. Click next. Some name, test policy, anything. Give description, whatever it is. Of course, not give like this. I mean, give a proper description. Create policy. It's creating a policy. Now you can attach this policy anywhere. Where your role attach a policy. What is the policy name? Test. Why it is not showing for me? I have the policy, right? Let's refresh again. It's loading. Wait a minute. See, it will take some time obviously. Attach the policy. Now whatever the permissions the policy have obviously came to role. It's, you know it. Same thing you can attach to group. I don't no need to show it, but yeah, you know it already. Where is the policy? Let's go to our test policy. See the type, it's changed. Customer managed. See, AWS managed is managing created by AWS. Customer managed is which you created. So like this, you can able to create your role, use it with your permissions. If you have JSON, write a JSON file. we give these permissions. Or if you don't know JSON, simply if you want to add one more thing, let's say add more permissions here, simply maybe EC2 or S3, I mean whatever it is, S3, let's say what actions you want in S3. I want to give all actions to S3. See, which S3 bucket you want to give, specific S3 bucket? No, I want for all S3 buckets. If you give specific S3 bucket, these permissions will be applicable to that specific bucket only. But if you give all, these permissions will apply to all the S3 buckets. Create a role, sorry, uh, updating the role, and of course S3 CloudFront permissions will be applied to this role wherever the policy is attached. So like this. Is it clear? Any doubts so far?
Not now.
Practice, yes. That's about roles, policies, users and groups, creating your own roles. There is something called account settings, which it's just like you're setting few things. Password policy. This is the only one thing in account settings we generally use. Password policies. So you can you know, right? I mean, password strength, password letter should be 8 or 10, capital, small, blah blah blah. These password requirements you can able to set here. So these are default. You can apply custom. How many characters you want password? Maybe 80. So 80 characters should be there in password. Of course, not idealistic, but I'm just saying maybe 12. Require at least one upper letter, one lower, one number, one symbol. Password expiration. How many days? Maybe let's keep it 90 means. Every 90 days, the IAM user need to change the password. This will apply to all the IAM users. Password expiration required. Admin reset not required. Allow users to change their own password. Yes. By default, as of now, users cannot change their own password. They can reset it. They can try, but not changing. Prevent password reuse. It means let's give 24. So users cannot use the same password for which they have used for the last 24 times. Not ideal again. Maybe let's keep it 3. So like this you can have your own password policy. Not really that pretty important, but yeah, know this. Okay. So that's about IAM concepts. To practice, you can delete the roles. I mean, I'll show you how to delete. You know it how to delete. I'm not showing every day, so not really that difficult. Of course, this is the role. Delete the role. Give the role name. Of course, you want to delete a group. Delete a group. Sorry. Delete the group. Role is deleted. Policy deleted. Group deleted. Let's see the user. Let's delete. Of course, this is also deleted. Now delete the S3. I mean, of course, there is no cost for S3 bucket. It's just empty, right? But why to have an S3 bucket? We can create whenever we require it again, because it won't take much time. Of course, this we need to delete. Don't forget to delete your instance or stop your instance when you're done. That will cost you fortune. T2 micro is fine, but other types. So that's it for today. IAM. Okay. So create users, create groups, create roles, create policies, try it, and yes, I mean, I know it's not complicated, but yeah, do know these roles specifically. Users and groups you may not create. Maybe if you're admin, you'll be creating, but that's not much. Do practice creating roles and policies. Roles and policies, use them, use them, use them. Okay, that's about it.
Okay.
So tomorrow Friday, right? Let's have class at same time, 7 a.m. only. Tomorrow I have meetings again at night. So let's meet tomorrow same time, 7 a.m. Bye all. Have a nice day.
Thank you.